When Donald Trump steps into a shadowed alley behind Trump Tower, one frigid April morning in 2025, he stumbles upon something unexpected. Two orphan siblings, Emma and Jake, shivering in a cardboard box after losing their mother. What happens next will transform their lives in ways neither could imagine. A fleeting encounter sparking an extraordinary journey from abandonment to hope, proving that sometimes the greatest redemption hides in the city's quietest corners. The sky hadn't yet broken with dawn, but the air thrummed with the promise of a new day. Trump moved briskly down the alley, his breath fogging in the pre-dawn chill. The streetlights cast a weak glow over the concrete, and a stubborn winter nip had him tugging his coat collar up, hands stuffed in his pockets. His security detail, ever present since he'd taken office again in January, had pushed to join him at this hour, but he'd waved them off, needing a rare moment alone before the day's chaos. He'd slipped out of the White House's New York quarters early to sift through an old real estate file at Trump Tower, a nod to his dad's legacy amid his second term's demands. But the alley had other ideas, and as he turned a corner by a dumpster, a pile of cardboard boxes stopped him short. He figured it was just trash at first. The wind loved littering these streets. Then a small hand darted out, trembling as it yanked a tattered blanket tighter. Trump froze, squinting as he stepped closer. Inside the makeshift shelter were two kids, a girl and a boy, huddled against the frost. The girl, maybe 10, had blonde hair dulled by dirt, her thin jacket useless against the cold. The boy, younger, 6 or 7, had dark brown hair flopping into his eyes, sniffling as he dozed on her shoulder. The sight hit hard, kids alone in a box while he juggled a nation from D.C. "Hey," he said, his voice bouncing off the brick walls, sharper than he'd meant. The girl's head snapped up, blue eyes flaring with fear, and she pulled the boy tighter. He stirred, blinking awake, shrinking into her side. "What are you doing out here?" Trump asked, softening his tone, crouching to their level. The girl stared, her gaze flicking to the street like she was plotting an escape. Up close, he saw the grime smudging her cheeks, her lips quivering. Not just from the cold, but something deeper. "It's okay," he added, hands up. "I'm not here to hurt you." "We're fine," she muttered, her voice small but fierce, tugging the blanket over her brother. The boy coughed a rough, wet hack and peeked out, his hazel eyes glassy with exhaustion. Trump frowned. Kids this young, out here alone while he sat in the Oval Office signing bills. "You don't look fine," he said, eyeing the box, a faded cereal logo on the side, a few crushed water bottles nearby. "Where are your folks?" The girl's jaw clenched, and she looked down, her silence heavier than words. The boy coughed again, and Trump's chest tightened. "I'm Donald," he said, trying to crack her shell. "You know, the guy running the country these days." He flashed a half-grin, nodding toward Trump Tower's gleam at the alley's end. "What's your name?" She hesitated, then whispered, "Emma." "This is Jake." Jake rubbed his eyes, rasping. "Are you gonna arrest us?" Trump chuckled, though it stung. "No, kid, not arresting anyone. Just a guy who owns that big building over there. And, yeah, lives in the White House too." Emma's eyes flickered with recognition. Hard to miss the president's face, but her guard stayed up. "We're not supposed to be here," she said, almost to herself. "We'll go, just don't call anyone." "Hold on," Trump said, his mind racing. He'd seen plenty in New York, panhandlers, drifters, but kids like this alone? It cut deep. A memory clawed up from decades back, when he was a boy in Queens, long before the presidency. Mrs. Delaney, the widow down the block, always smiling despite her struggles, 2 little ones tagging along. She'd gotten sick one winter, pneumonia maybe, and died quick. His mom had sent him with soup, but he'd balked, left it on the stoop without knocking. Next week, she was gone, her kids whisked to foster care. He'd never tracked them down, but the guilt of not stepping up lingered, a shadow he rarely faced, even now as commander-in-chief. "How long you been out here?" he asked, pushing the past aside. Emma shrugged, twisting the blanket's frayed edge. "A while. Since Mom." She stopped, swallowing hard. Jake's voice wobbled. "Mom's not coming back. She got real sick, and the hospital took her." Trump's gut twisted. Orphans, just like those Delaney kids, lost to the system. "No dad," he pressed. Emma shook her head. "Never knew him. It was just us and Mom till last month." Her words sank in, too big for her small frame. Jake coughed again, and she rubbed his back, murmuring something soft Trump couldn't catch. The alley stirred. Delivery trucks rumbled a block over, a horn blared. Trump checked his watch, 6:15 a.m. He couldn't walk away. Not with a nation watching him lead. Not with that old regret gnawing. "You can't stay here," he said, standing but keeping his voice gentle. "It's freezing, and that cough's no picnic." Emma's eyes narrowed, defiant. "We've been okay. I take care of Jake." "I see that," Trump said, nodding at her grip on her brother. "You're tough, real tough. But even tough folks need a hand sometimes." She didn't budge, staring him down like she'd been burned by empty promises before. "Look," he said, pulling his phone out. "I'm not leaving you in a box. Not when I'm the guy signing laws to fix stuff like this. Let me make a call, get you somewhere warm, some food. No cops, no trouble, just help." Emma bit her lip, glancing at Jake, who shivered harder under the blanket. "Where?" she asked, cautious. "A place I know, safe, clean. You can eat, rest. Then we sort it out." He didn't say more, not yet. That queen's memory burned. 2 kids he'd let slip away. Not these 2, not on his watch, not as president. "Hey, Marla, it's me," he said into the phone. "Got a situation. Need a spot at the 5th Street shelter. 2 kids now." "Yeah, I'm here with them. Make it quick." He hung up, turning back. 5 minutes, someone's coming. "You like pancakes?" Jake's eyes brightened, despite his fatigue. "With syrup?" "Best syrup in New York," Trump promised, a grin tugging at his lips. Emma stayed quiet, watching him like a hawk, but she didn't pull away when he offered a hand to help them up. Across the alley, a black SUV rolled in, his assistant Marla, stepping out with a blanket and a thermos, her White House badge glinting faintly. "Mr. President, what's going on?" she asked, eyeing the kids. "Emma and Jake," he said, nodding at them. "Lost their mom, been out here too long. We're fixing it." Marla softened, kneeling to wrap the blanket around Jake. "Hey, sweetie, let's get you warm." Emma stood close, protective, but let her brother lean into the heat. Trump watched, that queen's memory sharp. 2 kids he couldn't save then, 2 he could now, even with a country on his shoulders. "Let's move," he said, voice firm but kind. "This is just the start." As they shuffled toward the SUV, Emma glanced back at the cardboard box. Their whole world until minutes ago. Trump caught her look, a pang hitting him. "You won't need that anymore," he said, more to himself than her. The city woke around them, horns, footsteps, but in that alley a quiet shift began. A knock he hadn't ignored, a chance to rewrite an old regret. Emma climbed in after Jake, her small hand gripping his, and Trump followed, the weight of their trust settling on him. A mantle heavier than any Oval Office duty. The black SUV rolled through Manhattan's waking streets, its tinted windows shielding Emma and Jake from the blur of early risers and delivery vans. Inside, the heater hummed, a stark contrast to the alley's bite, and the scent of coffee from Marla's thermos filled the space. Donald Trump sat in the front passenger seat, his broad frame angled to keep an eye on the kids in the back. Emma held Jake close, her small body tense against the leather, her blue eyes darting between Marla at the wheel and the man who'd pulled them from their cardboard cave. Jake, wrapped in the blanket Marla had given him, coughed softly, his head lolling against his sister's shoulder as exhaustion tugged at him. "Almost there," Marla said, glancing at Trump. "Shelter's got 2 beds ready, clean sheets, hot food. I called ahead." Trump nodded, his jaw tight. "Good. Make sure they've got a doctor on call. That cough's not right." He turned to the kids, catching Emma's wary stare. "You're gonna like this place," he said, forcing a grin. "Warm, safe, pancakes on the way. Best deal in town." Jake perked up, his voice a rasp. "With syrup?" "Told you, best syrup in New York," Trump replied, his grin softening into something real. Emma didn't smile, her grip on Jake unyielding, like she was waiting for the catch. The SUV pulled up to a nondescript building on 5th Street, a shelter Trump had funded years back, now a quiet lifeline for the city's forgotten. Marla parked, and Trump stepped out, opening the back door. "Come on, let's get you inside." Emma hesitated, her eyes scanning the street, empty except for a lone cab idling nearby, then slid out, pulling Jake with her. He stumbled, the blanket dragging, and Trump steadied him with a hand on his shoulder. "Easy, kid. We've got you." Marla led the way, her White House badge catching the light as she buzzed them in, and a tired-looking woman, mid-40s, graying ponytail, met them at the desk. "Mr. President," the woman said, straightening. "Didn't expect you personally." "Yeah, well, this one's special," Trump said, nodding at the kids. "Emma and Jake, lost their mom, been on the street. Need beds, food, and a doc to check that cough." The woman, her name tag read Linda, softened, kneeling to Emma's level. "Hey, hon, I'm Linda. We've got a room ready, nice and warm." Hungry. Emma nodded faintly, still clutching Jake, who coughed again, a wet rattle that made Linda frown. I'll call Dr. Patel, she said, standing. He's our on-call guy, good with kids. They followed Linda down a hall, past murals of smiling faces painted by past residents, to a small room with 2 twin beds, a lamp, and a window overlooking a courtyard. The sheets were crisp, the air smelled of bleach, not fancy, but worlds away from the alley. Marla set the thermos on a table, pulling out a couple of granola bars from her bag. Tide you over till breakfast, she said, handing them to Emma. Jake grabbed one, tearing it open with shaky hands, while Emma held hers, inspecting it like it might vanish. Eat, Trump said, his tone gentle but firm. You need it. Emma took a small bite, watching as Linda returned with a tray. 2 plates of pancakes, syrup dripping over the edges, and cups of milk. Jake's eyes widened, and he dug in, syrup smearing his chin. Emma ate slower, her focus split between her brother and the adults. Where's this doctor? Trump asked Linda, arms crossed. On his way, 10 minutes, she replied. Good, he said, then turned to Emma. He'll check Jake, make sure that cough's nothing serious. Okay. She nodded barely, her trust thin as the blanket still draped over Jake's shoulders. Trump stepped back, letting Linda and Marla settle the kids, and pulled out his phone again. Hey, Steve, it's me, he said, voice low. Need you to dig into something. 2 kids, Emma and Jake, mom died last month, no dad. Hospital records, foster care status, whatever you can find. Quietly, don't spook anyone. He hung up, staring at the wall. That Queen's memory gnawed at him. Mrs. Delaney's kids, lost to the system, no one stepping up. He'd been a kid then, powerless. Now, as president, he wasn't. Not with a country to run, not with resources at his fingertips. These 2 wouldn't slip away. Dr. Patel arrived, short, wiry, with a stethoscope around his neck, and knelt by Jake's bed. Hey, buddy, I'm gonna listen to your chest, all right? Jake nodded, still chewing, and Emma hovered, her eyes sharp. Patel pressed the stethoscope to Jake's back, frowning as the boy coughed mid-bite. Sounds like bronchitis, mild, but we'll treat it. Antibiotics, rest, he'll be okay. He glanced at Emma. You too, any coughs? She shook her head, but Patel checked anyway, his touch quick and gentle. You're good, he said, then turned to Trump. They're malnourished, dehydrated. Nothing a few days here won't fix. Make it happen, Trump said, his tone clipped. Whatever they need, meds, food, clothes. Bill it to me. Linda raised an eyebrow but nodded, scribbling on a clipboard. Patel packed up, leaving a bottle of pills with instructions, and Marla stepped out to take a call. White House business, no doubt. Trump stayed, leaning against the doorframe, watching Emma cut Jake's pancakes into smaller bites. You're a good sister, he said, breaking the silence. She didn't look up. He's all I've got. Her words landed like a stone, stirring that old regret. He'd been in D.C. yesterday, signing a veteran's bill, big headlines, big applause. But here, in this room, the stakes felt bigger. You've got more now, he said, quieter. Not just him. Emma's eyes flicked to him, searching for the lie, but she said nothing, turning back to Jake. Linda returned with a bag, secondhand clothes, toothbrushes, a couple of books. Basics to start, she said. We'll get more tomorrow. Jake, belly full, yawned, his eyelids drooping, and Emma helped him lie back, tucking the blanket around him. Trump's phone buzzed, Steve, his fixer. Got something, Steve said. Mom's name was Sarah Miller, single, died March 10th, pneumonia, Bellevue Hospital. No relatives on record. Kids were in temp foster care, ran off 2 weeks ago. System's looking, but slow. Keep it quiet, Trump said. I'm handling it. He hung up, staring at the kids. Runaways, tougher than he'd thought, just like Emma's glare. That Queen's echo hit again, Mrs. Delaney's kids, shipped off, forgotten. He hadn't knocked then. Now he was all in. Get some sleep, he told Emma, stepping toward the door. I'll be back tomorrow, we'll figure this out. She nodded barely, her eyes on Jake as he drifted off. Trump lingered, the weight of her trust, or lack of it, pressing on him. You're not alone anymore, he said, more promise than statement, and walked out, Marla trailing him. In the SUV, he stared at the shelter's facade. They're staying together, he told Marla, voice hard. No splitting him up, make it clear. She nodded, typing into her phone. What's the play, sir? Fix it, he said, eyes on the building. All of it. Back at Trump Tower, he sank into his office chair, the old file forgotten. The White House could wait. This was personal. Emma's fierce grip on Jake's cough. They weren't just faces. They were a chance. A chance to rewrite that Queen's stoop. to knock this time and mean it. He dialed again. Marla, get me the best foster lawyer in New York, top shelf. And a tutor, someone good with kids. Tomorrow, 9 a.m. He hung up, staring out at the city waking below. Morning light crept through the shelter's courtyard window, painting faint stripes across the twin beds where Emma and Jake slept. The room was quiet, save for Jake's soft breathing. Steadier now, the antibiotics from Dr. Patel kicking in, and the occasional creak of the old building settling. Emma lay curled on her side, one arm flung over Jake, her blonde hair a tangled halo on the pillow. She'd barely slept, her eyes snapping open at every sound, waiting for the moment this warmth vanished. The pancakes, the clean sheets, the promise of tomorrow. It all felt like a dream too fragile to trust, even with the president's word behind it. Outside, Donald Trump's black SUV rolled up to the 5th Street shelter at 8:55 a.m., tires crunching on gravel. He stepped out, smoothing his coat, his breath visible in the crisp April air. Marla climbed out after him, juggling a tablet and a coffee, her White House badge clipped to her jacket. "Lawyers inside," she said, tapping the screen. "Best in the city, Ellen Carter, foster care specialist. Tutors on her way, Rachel Kim, top-notch with troubled kids." Trump nodded, his jaw set. "Good. Let's move fast. Those kids aren't waiting on bureaucracy." He'd barely slept either, that Queen's memory, Mrs. Delaney's kids, lost to the system, looping in his head all night. Inside, Linda greeted them at the desk, her ponytail neater today. "Mr. President, they're awake." Ate some oatmeal, kept it down. Jake's cough's better, but he's still wiped. "Doc say anything else?" Trump asked, arms crossed. "Just rest and meds for now," Linda replied. Emma's glued to him, won't let him out of sight. Trump's lips twitched, a fighter, that girl. "Bring Em to the meeting room," he said. "We've got people to see." Linda nodded and headed off, while Trump and Marla turned down the hall, passing those same cheerful murals, to a small room with a table, chairs, and a coffee pot humming in the corner. Ellen Carter stood as they entered, mid-50s, sharp gray suit, eyes like a hawk's. "Mr. President," she said, shaking his hand. "Heard you've got a foster case, urgent?" "2 kids, Emma and Jake Miller," Trump said, sitting. "Mom died last month, no dad, been on the streets. Ran from temp care 2 weeks ago. I want him safe, together, no red tape." Ellen pulled a notepad, scribbling fast. "System's slow, foster slots are tight, and runaways get flagged. But I can push, private placement, expedited guardianship if we find a fit." "Make it happen," Trump said, voice firm. "Money's no issue, bill me." Marla set her tablet down, pulling up Steve's notes. "Mom, Sarah Miller, died March 10th, pneumonia, Bellevue. No kin on record. Kids were in a group home, bolted after a week. Emma's idea, probably." Trump's brow furrowed. Tough didn't cover it. That Queen's echo hit again. Mrs. Delaney's kids, shipped off, no one fighting for them. He'd been too young then, too shy. Now, as president, he had the muscle to change it. "No splitting Em," he told Ellen. "Emma's all Jake's got. She's not losing him." Ellen nodded, her pen flying. "I'll file today. Emergency custody order. Need a guardian lined up, though." Before Trump could reply, Linda ushered Emma and Jake in. They'd swapped their alley rags for shelter clothes. Emma in a too-big sweatshirt, Jake in a striped tee that hung past his knees. Jake's cough was softer, but his eyes were sunken, and Emma's grip on his hand was iron-tight. "Morning," Trump said, leaning forward. "How's the oatmeal?" Jake gave a shy smile. "Good, had raisins." Emma stayed silent, her stare flicking from Trump to Ellen, sizing them up. "This is Ellen," Trump said, nodding at the lawyer. "She's going to make sure you stay together, legally. No more running." Emma's eyes narrowed. "You said no cops." "She's not a cop," Trump said, keeping his tone steady. "She's a lawyer, best in New York. Fixes things for kids like you." Ellen smiled, gentle but firm. "Hey, Emma. I've got a daughter your age. Hates when I meddle too. But I'm here to keep you and Jake safe, okay?" Emma didn't nod, but her grip on Jake eased a fraction. Jake coughed, and she rubbed his back, her focus shifting. "He's still sick," she said, voice low. "Doc's on it," Trump assured her. "Meds, rest, you watch him, we'll handle the rest." The door opened again, and a young woman stepped in, late 20s, dark hair and a messy bun, carrying a backpack. "Rachel Kim," she said, offering a hand to Trump. "Tutor, heard you needed me fast." "Yeah," Trump said, standing. "Emma, Jake, this is Rachel. She's gonna help with school stuff, get you caught up." Rachel knelt by Jake, her smile warm. "Hey, Jake, you like stories? I've got a book about pirates in here. Jake's eyes lit up, despite his fatigue. With swords. Big swords, Rachel grinned, then looked at Emma. You two, whatever you're into, we'll figure it out. Emma's guard didn't drop, but she didn't pull Jake away when Rachel slid a book across the table. Treasure Island. School's over for summer, Emma muttered. Not learning, Rachel said. You've missed some, right? We'll catch up your pace. Trump watched, impressed. Rachel had a knack, cutting through Emma's walls without pushing. They're yours, he told her. Start today, whatever they need. Rachel nodded, unpacking pencils and a notebook. Got it. Ellen cleared her throat. Legal stuff's moving. Custody order by tomorrow if I lean on the judge. Need a placement, though, shelter's temp. Trump turned to Marla. Call the foundation, Trump Family Trust. Set up a fund, housing, school, all of it. Find a spot, apartment, house, something close. Marla typed fast, her tablet glowing. On it. 2-bedroom near here, utilities covered? Yeah, Trump said. And staff, a nanny, someone solid. No group homes, no foster shuffle. Ellen raised an eyebrow. That's big, private guardianship's rare. I don't do small, Trump shot back, a flicker of his old bravado cutting through. Emma watched, her silence heavy. Why? She asked suddenly, her voice cutting the room. All eyes turned. Why us? Trump leaned back, caught off guard. That queen's memory flared. Mrs. Delaney's kids, soup on the stoop, his failure to knock. Because I've seen kids like you before, he said, slow. Long time ago, neighbors. Lost their mom, got swept away. I didn't do enough then. Now I can. Emma's stare didn't waver, searching for the lie, but Jake tugged her sleeve. He's nice, Em. Like the Pancake Man. Trump chuckled, the tension easing. Pancake Man's sticking around, he said. You're not going back to that alley, deal? Emma didn't answer, but her shoulders dropped a hair, a crack in her armor. Rachel slid Treasure Island closer, flipping it open. Let's start here. 5 minutes, see if you like it. Jake nodded, scooting toward her, and Emma followed, reluctant but tethered to him. Trump stood, motioning Ellen and Marla to the hall. Get that order, he told Ellen. Marla, apartment by tonight. No excuses. Outside, he leaned against the wall, the weight of it sinking in. 2 kids, a box, a cough. Small stakes next to DC Circus, but bigger somehow. His phone buzzed, a White House aide, some briefing update. He silenced it. This mattered more. Emma's fierce eyes, Jake's trust, a chance to rewrite that queen's regret. Back in the room, Rachel's voice drifted out, reading about pirates and gold. Trump peeked through the door, Jake grinning. Emma listening despite herself. We're just starting, he muttered, a promise to them, to himself, to those kids he'd left behind decades ago. By late afternoon, the shelter's small meeting room buzzed with quiet activity. Rachel Kim sat cross-legged on the floor with Emma and Jake, Treasure Island open between them, her voice weaving tales of pirates and hidden gold. Jake leaned in, eyes wide, his cough softer now, while Emma traced the book's edges with her finger, listening despite her guarded silence. The shelter's hum, clinking dishes, muffled voices, faded into the background as Donald Trump stepped back in, Marla at his side, her tablet glowing with updates. The air smelled of coffee and the faint bleach of fresh linens, a world apart from the alley's damp rot. Got it, Marla said, her voice low as she handed Trump a printout. 2-bedroom on 7th, 5 blocks from here. Furnished, utilities on, lease signed through the Trump Family Trust. Nannies lined up, Clara Evans, 42, ex-teacher, clean record. She's there now, setting up. Trump scanned the page. Photos of a modest apartment, beige carpet, a couch, 2 beds, a kitchenette. Good, he said, folding it into his pocket. Kids need a real place tonight. He glanced at Emma and Jake, Rachel's storytelling holding them steady, a lifeline in the chaos of their day. Ellen Carter slipped in, her gray suit crisp despite the hours, a file under her arm. Mr. President, she said, setting it on the table. Emergency custody orders through. Judge Ramirez signed off. Private guardianship pending. They're yours to place, no foster split. Trump's shoulders eased a fraction. Mrs. Delaney's kids hadn't had that chance, shuffled off to who knows where. Fast work, he said. What's next? Background on the nanny's solid, Ellen replied. Clara's got experience with tough cases, foster kids, runaways. She'll keep them stable. Permanent guardianship needs a hearing, week or 2, but this buys time. Make it permanent, Trump said, his tone hard. No loose ends. Ellen nodded, jotting a note. I'll push court swamped, but your name moves needles. Marla smirked faintly. Being president had its perks, even in New York's clogged system. Trump turned to the kids, catching Emma's eye as Rachel paused mid-sentence. "Hey," he said, stepping closer. "Got a surprise. New place, just for you two. Beds, kitchen, all yours tonight." Jake's head popped up, syrup from breakfast still smudged on his chin. "Like a house. Better than a box," Trump said, grinning. "Real deal." Emma's gaze sharpened, distrust flickering. "For how long?" Trump crouched, meeting her stare. "Long as you need. No more alleys, promise." She didn't blink, weighing his words against a month of broken hopes. Jake tugged her sleeve. A house. Can we have more pancakes?" Rachel laughed, ruffling his hair. "We'll find some, pirate." Emma's lips twitched, not a smile, but close, and Trump stood satisfied. "Let's roll," he told Marla. "Getting there now." The SUV idled out front, Linda loading a bag of shelter clothes and books, Treasure Island tucked in by Rachel. Emma and Jake climbed in, Emma's grip on her brother unrelenting, her eyes tracking Trump as he took the front seat again. The drive was short, 5 blocks, 10 minutes, but the city shifted around them, from the shelter's gritty edge to a quieter street of brownstones and small shops. The building at 7th was plain, red brick, a buzzer at the door, but solid safe. Marla buzzed and a woman answered, Clara Evans, broad-shouldered, warm brown eyes, a streak of gray in her dark hair. "Mr. President," Clara said, stepping aside as they entered. "Place is ready, beds made, fridge stocked." The apartment smelled of fresh paint and lemon cleaner, nothing fancy, but a far cry from cardboard. The living room had a couch, a TV, a rug. The kitchenette gleamed with a stove and a small table. 2 bedrooms branched off, one with a twin bed and a rocket poster for Jake, the other with a desk and a lamp for Emma. Jake darted to his room, blanket trailing. "Luki, inga hawkich." Emma followed slower, her fingers brushing the desk, her face unreadable but softer. Clara knelt by Jake, her voice gentle. "Hey, I'm Clara. I'll be around, help out." "You like rockets?" "Yeah," Jake said, coughing less now. "Gonna be an astronaut." "Good choice," Clara grinned, then turned to Emma. "You too, whatever you need, I'm here." Emma nodded barely, her eyes on Jake as he flopped onto his bed. Trump watched from the doorway, that queen's memory stirring. Mrs. Delaney's kids never got a room like this, never got a Clara. "They're set?" he asked Marla low. "Yeah," she said, checking her tablet. "Clara's full-time, cooking school runs. Foundation's covering it, $50,000 up front, more if needed." "Good," Trump said, then stepped into Jake's room. "Like it, kid?" Jake beamed, hugging his pillow. "It's mine." "All yours," Trump said, ruffling his hair. He turned to Emma, leaning against her doorframe. "You too, your space. No one's taking it." She crossed her arms, studying him. "Why were you doing this?" Trump paused, that old regret surfacing. Soup on a stoop, a knock he never made. "Saw kids like you once," he said, slow. "Couldn't help him, too late. Not this time." Her stare held, searching, but she didn't push. Rachel arrived, backpack slung over her shoulder. "Hey guys, brought more books." She dropped The Hobbit on Emma's desk, Captain Underpants on Jake's bed. "Homework starts tomorrow, light stuff, see where you're at." Jake giggled, flipping through his book, while Emma thumbed The Hobbit, her guard easing a hair. Clara set a pot of soup on the stove, chicken noodle, the smell wafting through, and Trump's phone buzzed. A White House aide, some trade deal update. He silenced it, eyes on the kids. "Dinner's on," Clara called, ladling bowls. "Wash up, hands first." Emma led Jake to the bathroom, showing him the sink like she'd done it 100 times in worse places. Trump watched, a knot loosening. Mrs. Delaney's kids didn't get soup, didn't get beds. These two would. "Stay till they're settled," he told Marla. "Clara's got this?" "Rock solid," Marla said. "She'll call if anything's off." Trump nodded, then caught Clara's eye. "Anything they need, clothes, toys, whatever. Get it." "My tab." "Yes, sir," Clara said, stirring the pot. "They'll be okay, tough little pair." Dinner hit the table, soup, bread, milk, and Jake slurped, grinning, while Emma ate slow, her eyes on her brother, then Trump. "You're not staying?" she asked, blunt. "Got a country to run," he said, half smiling. "But I'll check in tomorrow, next day. You're stuck with me now." Jake laughed, soup on his chin, and Emma's lips twitched again, closer to a smile this time. Trump stood, coat in hand. "Sleep tight," he said, heading out. In the SUV, he stared at the building, red brick glowing under streetlights, a home where a box had been. Back at Trump Tower, he sank into his chair, the day's weight settling. Ellen's custody order, Clara's care, Rachel's books, pieces falling into place. His phone buzzed again, DC calling urgent. He ignored it. This was urgent, Emma's wary trust, Jake's grin, a chance to fix what he'd missed in Queens. "We're not done," he muttered, dialing Marla. "Set a school meeting, private, best one near. Tomorrow noon." He hung up, the city sprawling below. Sunlight streamed through the apartment's kitchenette window on 7th Street, glinting off the small table where Emma and Jake sat, spoons clinking against cereal bowls. It was their second morning there, April 15th, 2025, and the place already felt less foreign. Clara Evans moved quietly behind them, pouring orange juice, her gray-streaked hair catching the light. The rocket poster above Jake's bed, the faint pencil marks Emma had left on The Hobbit, small signs of them settling in. Jake slurped his cereal, a smear of milk on his chin, his cough reduced to a faint wheeze thanks to Dr. Patel's meds. Emma ate slower, her eyes flicking to Clara, then the clock. 8:30 a.m., like she was counting minutes until this new life unraveled. Clara set the juice down, her voice warm. "Big day, school meeting at noon. Rachel's coming too, get you started right." Jake grinned, kicking his legs under the table. "School with pirates?" "Not quite," Clara chuckled. "But Rachel's got fun stuff planned." Emma's spoon paused midair, her gaze narrowing. "We're not going back to regular school, are we?" Clara shook her head, wiping the counter. "Private, smaller, better. Mr. Trump's setting it up." Emma's lips pressed thin. She still didn't get why the president cared, but Jake's grin kept her quiet. Outside, Donald Trump's SUV pulled up at 11:45 a.m., gravel crunching under its tires. He stepped out, coat open in the warming air, Marla beside him with her tablet glowing. "School's ready," she said, scrolling. "St. Anne's private, 10 minutes from here. Principal's waiting, Ellen's there too, custody update." Trump nodded, his jaw set. "Good, kids need books, not boxes." He'd spent the morning in Trump Tower, juggling a trade call with DC. His second term's grind never stopped. But his mind kept drifting to Emma's wary eyes, Jake's cough. That Queen's regret, Mrs. Delaney's kids, lost to nowhere, pushed him harder. Inside, Clara greeted them at the door, Jake trailing her with a toy rocket from Rachel's stash. "Mr. President," Clara said, stepping aside. "They're good," Jake's perking up, Emma's holding steady. Trump ruffled Jake's hair, the boy beaming. "Like the rocket kid?" "Yeah, goes to Mars." Jake zoomed it through the air, coughing once but lighter now. Emma stood by the couch, arms crossed, her sweatshirt still baggy but cleaner. "Morning," Trump said, meeting her stare. "Ready for school stuff?" She shrugged, her silence loud. Trust wasn't free, not yet. The drive to St. Anne's was quick. 10 minutes through Manhattan's hum, the SUV weaving past yellow cabs and delivery bikes. Emma and Jake sat in back, Clara between them, Rachel following in her own car. The school loomed ahead, a brick building with ivy creeping up its sides, smaller than the public sprawls they'd known, its playground quiet but bright. Principal Margaret Hayes met them at the entrance. Late 50s, silver hair in a bun, her smile practiced but kind. "Mr. President," she said, shaking his hand. "Pleasure, and a surprise." "Yeah, well, these two are special," Trump said, nodding at the kids. "Emma, Jake, need 'em enrolled, top care, no delays." Hayes led them to her office, wood-paneled, bookshelves stuffed, a window overlooking the yard. Ellen Carter waited inside, her gray suit crisp, a fresh file on the desk. "Custody's holding," Ellen said as they Saturday permanent hearings set, April 28th. Clara's cleared as interim guardian. Foundation's funding checks out. Trump leaned forward. "Good, make it stick. They're not bouncing around." Hayes smiled at Emma and Jake, who sat stiff on a couch, Clara beside them. "We're small, 120 kids, tight staff," she said. "They'll get focus, catch-up classes, counseling if needed." "Jake's grade 2, Emma's 5, right?" "Yeah," Emma muttered, her first word since arriving. "But we missed a lot." "That's okay," Hayes said, gentle. "We'll test you, start where you're at." Rachel stepped in, backpack slung over her shoulder. "I've got their baselines, Jake's reading spotty, Emma's math solid but rusty. We'll build slow." Trump watched, impressed. Rachel's calm cut through Emma's edges like a blade through fog. "They're in," he asked Hayes. "Today," she said. "Paperwork's light. Your team's handling fees?" "All me," Trump said, waving a hand. "Books, uniforms, whatever, send the bill." Hayes nodded, then turned to the kids. "Want to see your classrooms?" Jake bounced up, tugging Emma's sleeve. "Simon, in school." She followed, reluctant, Clara trailing them. The group moved down a hall, polished floors, kid art on the walls, to a second-grade room. Desks in rows, a fish tank bubbling, a young teacher, Ms. Larson, stacking books. "Jake, right?" she said, kneeling. "Got a spot by the window. Fish are yours to name." Jake grinned, darting to the tank, while Emma hung back, eyeing the room like a trap. Next, a fifth-grade class, Ms. Torres, mid-30s, warm brown eyes, waved them in. "Emma, welcome. I've got a desk here, and we're starting fractions today." Emma's shoulders tensed. She'd done fractions in a library once before the alley, but she nodded, silent. Trump caught her look, that queen's memory flaring. Mrs. Delaney's girl, maybe Emma's age, never got a desk like this. "They're set?" he asked Rachel low. "Starting tomorrow," she said. "I'll bridge Em, half-days with me till they're steady." "Make it work," Trump said, then turned to Hayes. "Anything they need, call Marla. No excuses." Back in the office, Ellen handed Trump a form. "Sign here, guardian proxy till the hearing. Clara's primary, your backup." He scrawled his name, Donald J. Trump, a flourish honed by years of deals and now laws, his second term's weight behind it. "Done," he said, sliding it back. "They're mine till it's locked." Emma watched from the couch, her eyes sharp. Jake giggled at Clara's side, oblivious. "Why school?" she asked, blunt again. Trump met her gaze, steady. "You're smart, tough. World's yours if you learn it. Jake too." She didn't reply, but her arms uncrossed, a crack widening. Hayes stood. "We'll fit Em. Uniforms tomorrow, supplies today. Counselors on call, trauma's tricky." Trump nodded, that queen's echo sharp. "Those kids never got a counselor, never got a chance." "Keep 'em close," he told Clara, standing. "No slipping." "Got it," she said, her teacher's calm a rock. Rachel packed up, the Hobbit under her arm. "See you tomorrow, guys, pirates after math." Jake cheered, Emma's lips twitching, almost a smile. The SUV idled outside, Trump lingering as Clara led the kids back to Hayes. "They're good?" he asked Marla low. "Solid, school's top tier, Clara's a pro," she said, tablet buzzing with a White House alert, trade talks escalating. He silenced it, eyes on the building. "Next, health check, full workup," he said. "Doc Patel, tomorrow, 2 p.m. Marla typed fast. "Done," and Clara's reporting nightly. Trump nodded, that old regret easing. Mrs. Delaney's kids faded, Emma and Jake sharpened. "We're halfway," he muttered, climbing in. "Keep it rolling." Back at Trump Tower, he sank into his chair, the city humming below. A DC call blinked, urgent, ignored. Emma's almost smile, Jake's fish tank, those won today. He dialed Clara. "How's dinner?" "Soup again, Jake's hooked," she laughed. Emma's reading, quiet but in. "Good," he said, hanging up. The apartment on 7th Street hummed with the quiet rhythm of a Wednesday afternoon. April 16th, 2025. Clara Evans stirred a pot of macaroni and cheese on the stove, the cheesy smell wafting through the small kitchenette, while Jake sprawled on the living room rug, coloring a rocket he'd drawn after breakfast. Emma sat at the table, the Hobbit open in front of her, her finger tracing Bilbo's journey, though her eyes kept drifting to Jake, checking, always checking. His cough was a faint echo now, the antibiotics working their magic, but her guard hadn't dropped. The place felt real, beds, a fridge, Clara's steady presence, but Emma still braced for it to vanish, like everything else had. Clara glanced at the clock, 1:45 p.m., and called, 10 minutes till the doctor, kids. Wash up, hands and faces." Jake scrambled up, marker smudged on his cheek, and darted to the bathroom, giggling. Emma followed slower, closing her book, her steps deliberate. She'd heard Trump's plan yesterday. Health check, full workup, and it nagged at her. Why did he care so much? She'd seen the news, President Trump, big speeches, big deals, but here he was still hovering over them. Clara caught her eye, smiling. "Dr. Patel's nice, you met him. Just making sure you're both strong." Outside, Donald Trump's black SUV pulled up at 1:55 p.m., the engine idling as he stepped out, Marla beside him with her tablet buzzing. "Patel's inside," she said, scrolling. "Full exam, blood work, vaccines, the works." Clara says Jake's cough's nearly gone. Emma's holding steady. Trump nodded, his coat flapping in the breeze. "Good keeping out. No cutting corners." He'd spent the morning in Trump Tower, a video call with DC, trade tariffs heating up, his second term's grind relentless. But Emma's almost smile and Jake's rocket doodles had stuck with him, pulling him back here. Inside, Dr. Patel waited in the living room. Stethoscope ready, a medical bag open on the coffee table. "Mr. President," he said, standing as Trump entered. Kids are improving. Jake's lungs sound better. Emma's resilient. Check everything, Trump said, arms crossed. No surprises, full report. Clara ushered Emma and Jake in, Jake bouncing, Emma trailing with her arms tight around herself. Hey, Doc, Jake chirped, climbing onto the couch. Am I fixed? Patel chuckled, kneeling. Let's see, buddy. Shirt up, deep breaths. Jake obeyed, giggling as the cold stethoscope hit his chest. Emma watched, perched on the couch's edge, her eyes sharp. Patel listened, nodding. Lungs clearing, bronchitis fading. Good news. He checked Jake's throat, ears, then pulled a syringe. Vaccine catch-up, tetanus, measles. Quick pinch. Jake winced but grinned when Patel slapped a rocket Band-Aid on his arm. Cool. Trump leaned against the wall, watching. Mrs. Delaney's kids never got Band-Aids, never got a doc like this. He's solid, he asked. Needs calories, protein, vitamins, Patel said, packing up. But he'll bounce back fast. Emma went next, sliding onto the couch, her sweatshirt sleeves pulled over her hands. Patel checked her vitals, pulse steady, lungs clear. You're tough, he said, smiling. Any aches, coughs? She shook her head, silent, but let him draw blood, her jaw tight, eyes on Jake. Malnutrition's mild, Patel said, labeling the vial. Iron's low, supplements'll fix it. Vaccines for her too. He stuck her arm, quick and gentle, and she didn't flinch, just stared as a star Band-Aid joined Jake's rocket. Trump caught her look, fierce, protective, a kid carrying too much. They're good, he pressed Patel. Physically, yes, Patel said, zipping his bag. Emotionally, time care. They've been through it. Got that covered, Trump said, glancing at Clara. Right. Every day, she replied, her teacher's calm unshaken. Jake's eating. Emma's slow, but she's trying. Trump nodded. That queen's memory sharp. Those kids never got supplements, never got care. His phone buzzed. White House, some budget snag. He silenced it, eyes on the kids. Clara, stock the fridge, steaks, eggs, whatever builds them up. On it, she said, jotting a list. Rachel arrived, backpack slung over, her messy bun bobbing. Hey, crew, school stuff after? Jake cheered, Emma shrugged, but her fingers brushed the Hobbit, a tether. Patel handed Trump a report. Prelim stats, med orders. Full blood work back tomorrow. Nothing urgent so far. Keep me posted, Trump said, folding it into his pocket. He turned to Emma, crouching. Feeling okay? She nodded, wary. Jake's better. That's enough. You too, he said, firm. You're not just his keeper. Got your own road. Her eyes flicked up, searching, but she stayed quiet. Jake tugged Trump's sleeve. Can we have steak tonight? Best steak in New York, Trump grinned, ruffling his hair. Clara's on it. The afternoon stretched. Rachel pulling math sheets for Emma, pirate coloring for Jake, their voices mixing with Clara's humming in the kitchen. Trump stepped out with Marla, the SUV waiting. School's rolling, he asked low. St. Anne's first day tomorrow, she said, tablet glowing. Uniforms delivered, Clara's set for drop-off. Good, he said, then paused. Next counselor. Patel's right, head stuff's tricky. Marla typed fast. Got one, Dr. Lisa Grant, trauma specialist. Tomorrow for PM here. Make it stick, Trump said, climbing in. And Clara, daily check-ins. The drive back to Trump Tower was quick, the city's pulse steady around him. He sank into his chair, Patel's report on the desk, Jake's lungs clearing, Emma's iron low. Small wins, but wins. His phone buzzed again, DC, urgent trade update. He ignored it, flipping open the report instead. That queen's memory flared, Mrs. Delaney's kids, sick, gone, no one there. Not these two, not with him in the White House now, not with his name on the line. He dialed Clara. Steak's good. Grilling now, Jake's pumped, she laughed. Emma's eating, half a plate, big step. Keep it up, he said, hanging up. Marla poked her head in. Counselors locked, Grant's top tier, worked foster kids. Perfect, Trump said, leaning back. And school, check tomorrow noon. I'll be there. She nodded, retreating, and he stared out at the skyline. 2 kids, a home, school, health, 6 steps down, a lifetime rising. Emma's half plate, Jake's grin, they weren't just surviving, they were starting. He thought of that queen's stoop, soup untouched, and clenched his fist. This time he'd knocked and kept knocking. Back at the apartment, Clara set steaks on the table, juicy, steaming, with mashed potatoes and green beans. Jake dug in, sauce on his chin, while Emma cut hers slow, tasting each bite like it was a test. Rachel read The Hobbit aloud after, her voice weaving magic, and Jake's eyes drooped, Emma's softening. The morning sun cut through the blinds of the 7th Street apartment on April 17th, 2025, spilling across the kitchenette where Clara Evans flipped pancakes on a griddle. The sizzle mixed with the smell of syrup, filling the small space as Emma and Jake sat at the table in their new St. Anne's uniforms, navy polos, khaki pants, a little stiff on their frames. Jake fidgeted with his collar, grinning despite the itch, while Emma smoothed her sleeves, her blonde hair pulled back with a rubber band Clara had found in a drawer. Their first school day loomed, 8 a.m. drop-off, and the air buzzed with a mix of nerves and something new, something steady. Clara slid plates in front of them, her voice calm. "Eat up, big day ahead. Rachel, meet us there, ease you in." Jake dug in, syrup dripping, his cough now a rare hiccup thanks to Dr. Patel's meds. "Pancakes again," he chirped, kicking his legs. Emma ate slower, her eyes on the clock, 7:15 a.m., then Clara. "What if they don't like us?" she asked low. Clara set a glass of milk down, meeting her gaze. "They will. New kids are exciting. And you've got Jake, you're a team." Emma nodded, barely, cutting her pancake into precise squares. Outside, Donald Trump's black SUV rolled up at 7:45 a.m., the engine humming as he stepped out, Marla beside him with her tablet glowing. "School's on St. Anne's first bell," she said, scrolling. "Clara's got drop-off. Dr. Grant's at 4, counselor, trauma specialist. Patel's blood work's back too, clean, just low iron for Emma." Trump adjusted his tie, the April air warming. "Good, keep it tight. I'll check him at noon, see how it sticks." He'd spent the morning in Trump Tower, a DC call on trade deals buzzing in his ear. Second-term chaos. But Jake's pancake grin and Emma's sharp eyes pulled him here. Inside, Clara opened the door, Jake zooming past with his rocket backpack. "Mr. President," he said, waving a pancake-sticky hand. Trump chuckled, ruffling his hair. "Ready for school, kid?" "Yeah, gonna name the fish." Jake bounced, uniform rumpled already. Emma followed, backpack slung over one shoulder, her stare flicking to Trump, still wary, still measuring. "Morning," he said, nodding. "Big day, nervous?" She shrugged, adjusting her bag. "It's just school." "Not just," he said, grinning. "Best one in town, you're shot." Clara grabbed her keys. "Car's ready, 5 minutes to St. Anne's." Trump turned to Marla. "Follow M, snap pics, send me." "Noon, I'm there." "Got it," Marla said, typing fast. The group piled into Clara's hatchback, Jake chattering about pirates, Emma silent in the front, and Trump watched them pull away, the SUV idling as he climbed back in. At St. Anne's, Rachel waited by the entrance, her messy bun bobbing as she waved. "Hey crew, first day." Jake bolted out, hugging her leg, while Emma trailed, her steps slow. Ms. Larson met Jake at the second-grade door, kneeling. "Fish are waiting, ready?" He nodded, darting in, Clara snapping a pic. Ms. Torres greeted Emma, her warm eyes steady. "Got your desk, fractions today." "You good?" Emma nodded, clutching the Hobbit, and slipped inside, her seat by the window empty till now. Clara lingered, watching through the glass. Jake giggling with a boy, Emma cracking her book open. Rachel joined her, smiling. "They're in, half day, I'll pull them at noon for tutoring." Clara nodded, texting Marla the pics, Jake's grin, Emma's focus. Back at Trump Tower, Trump's phone pinged Marla's shots. He zoomed in, that queen's memory stirring. Mrs. Delaney's kids never got desks, never got a shot like this. Noon hit, and the SUV rolled back to St. Anne's, Trump stepping out as kids spilled into the yard. Jake ran up, rocket backpack bouncing. "Named the fish, Redbeard." Trump laughed, crouching. "Pirate fish, perfect." "How's it?" "Awesome, made a friend, Tim." Jake said, beaming. Emma approached slower, her uniform neater, the Hobbit under her arm. "How's fractions?" Trump asked. "Fine, new most," she said, her voice flat but her eyes softer. "Kid's okay." "Yeah, nobody's mean." Clara joined them, smiling. Smooth start, Jake's chatty, Emma's holding her own. Trump nodded, satisfied. Step by step, they were rooting. Rachel pulled them for tutoring, math drills for Emma, reading for Jake, in a quiet room off the hall. Trump peeked in, Rachel's voice steady over Jake's giggles, Emma's pencil scratching. "They're good," he asked Hayes, who'd joined him. "Fitting in, Jake's a spark, Emma's sharp," she said. "Counselor's next, Dr. Grant, for PM at the apartment." "Make it count," Trump said, then turned to Marla. "Grant's top tier. Best in trauma, foster kids, runaways," Marla said, tablet buzzing, a White House aide budget talks. He silenced it, eyes on the kids. At 4 p.m., Dr. Lisa Grant arrived at the apartment, early 40s, soft blonde hair, a calm that cut through the room. Clara let her in, Jake coloring on the rug. Emma at the table with her book. Hey, I'm Lisa, Grant said, sitting cross-legged by Jake. Like rockets? Yeah, to Mars, he said, showing his drawing. She smiled, then turned to Emma. You too reading? Emma nodded, guarded. Just stuff. Cool. I'm here to talk whenever you want. You too, Jake. She pulled a sketchpad, doodling with Jake, rockets, stars, while Emma watched, her grip on the Hobbit easing. Trump's SUV pulled up at 4:30, Marla texting, Grant's in, kids relaxed. He stepped out, peering through the window, Jake laughing, Emma sketching a dragon beside Grant. Clara met him at the door. She's good, got him drawing, talking a bit. Emma's quiet, but she's in. Progress, he asked. Slow, trusts hard, Clara said. Jake's open, Emma's walls are high. Trump nodded, that queen's regret sharp. Mrs. Delaney's kids never got a sketchpad, never got a Lisa. Keep her coming, twice a week, he said. Bill me. Inside, Grant glanced up, smiling faintly. They're tough, Jake's chatty, Emma's guarded. Allie's still in em, takes time. They've got it, Trump said firm. Whatever it takes, your call. Grant nodded, packing up. Next Monday, same time. Jake waved, Emma's eyes following her out, a crack widening. Clara set out grilled cheese, Jake's favorite, and Trump lingered, watching them eat. School tomorrow, he asked Emma. Yeah, she said softer. Fractions again. You'll crush it, he said, grinning, then headed out, Marla trailing. Back at Trump Tower, he sank into his chair, Marla's pics, Jake's fish, Emma's desk, on his desk. A DC call blinked, trade mess urgent. He let it ring, staring at the shots. Friday morning light filtered through the 7th Street Apartments blinds on April 18th, 2025, casting soft lines across the living room where Emma and Jake sprawled on the rug. Jake clutched a toy rocket, zooming it through an imaginary sky, while Emma flipped through The Hobbit, her pencil marking a passage about dragons. Their second day at St. Anne's had settled into their bones. Jake chattered about fish and friends. Emma kept quiet about fractions. But the rhythm felt less alien now. Clara Evans moved in the kitchenette, scrambling eggs, the smell mingling with toast as she hummed a tune from her teaching days. The apartment buzzed with a quiet normalcy, its walls holding their small marks, Jake's rocket sketches, Emma's book stack. Clara set plates down, her voice steady. Eat up, school in an hour. Dr. Grant's back at 4, more drawing today. Jake shoveled eggs, grinning. Can I draw a spaceship? Anything you want, Clara said, pouring milk. Emma ate slower, her uniform polo neater today, her eyes on Jake, always watching. She coming every week? She asked low. Twice, Clara replied, wiping her hands. Helps to talk, or draw, if that's your thing. Emma nodded, her pencil tapping the table, a dragon sketch from yesterday tucked in her book. Outside, Donald Trump's black SUV rolled up at 8:30 a.m., the engine purring as he stepped out, Marla beside him with her tablet aglow. Grant's on second session today, she said, scrolling. Clara says Jake's chatty, Emma's opening a crack. School's smooth, St. Anne sent a note, they're blending in. Trump adjusted his coat, the April air crisp. Good, keep it rolling. Noon check again, gotta see him stick. He'd spent the morning in Trump Tower, a DC briefing on tariffs buzzing through his earpiece. Second term noise, but Jake's spaceship dreams and Emma's dragon doodles tugged him back here. Inside, Clara opened the door, Jake darting past with his rocket. Mr. President, he said, zooming it high. Trump grinned, crouching. That Mars-bound kid? Yeah, Tim says I can be an astronaut. Jake beamed, his cough a ghost now. Emma followed, her backpack slung, the Hobbit poking out. Morning, Trump said, nodding. School good. Fine, she said, her voice even, eyes softer than yesterday. Fraction still. Decimals now, she muttered, a hint of pride slipping through. Clara grabbed her keys. Drop-off set, Rachel's there at noon for tutoring. The hatchback pulled away, Jake waving, Emma staring out, and Trump watched, the SUV humming as he climbed in. At St. Anne's, Ms. Larson greeted Jake with a fist bump. Redbeard's hungry, feed him today? Jake nodded, bolting to the tank, while Ms. Torres met Emma, her warm eyes steady. Decimals ready? Emma shrugged, slipping into her desk, her pencil already moving. Noon hit, and Trump's SUV returned, kids spilling into the yard. Jake ran up, rocket in hand. Tim and me made a club, Space Pirates. Trump laughed, ruffling his hair. Captain Jake, nice. School fun. Yeah, best ever. Emma approached, her uniform crisp, a math sheet tucked in her book. Decimals good? Trump asked. Got M, she said, quieter. Kids still okay? Yeah, nobody's dumb. Clara joined, smiling. Jake's a star. Emma's holding steady. Rachel pulled them for tutoring. Decimals for Emma, pirate tales for Jake, and Trump lingered, watching through the window. Jake's giggles, Emma's focus, they were digging in. "They're set," he asked Hayes, who'd stepped out. "Solid, Jake's got pals, Emma's sharp," she said. Grant's key, trauma's deep. Back at the apartment, for PM brought Dr. Lisa Grant, blonde hair tied back, sketchpad in hand. Clara let her in, Jake waving from the rug. "Hey Lisa, spaceship day." Grant grinned, sitting beside him. "Let's draw it, big engines?" Emma stayed at the table, her dragon sketch open, and Grant slid her a pencil. "More dragons?" "Maybe," Emma said, her hand moving scales wings. Grant doodled with Jake, rockets blasting off, then turned to Emma. "Want to talk or draw it out?" Emma shrugged, sketching faster, a cave taking shape. "Mom liked dragons," she muttered soft, her first crack spilling free. Grant nodded calm. "She sounds cool, tell me." Emma's pencil paused, then moved again. "She read us stories before." Jake piped up, "Dragon ones." Grant smiled, her pad filling, rockets caves. "Nice, she's in these, huh?" Emma didn't reply, but her lines darkened, a dragon's eye sharp. Trump's SUV rolled up at 4:45, Marla texting, Grant's deep, Emma's talking. He stepped out, peering in, Jake's spaceship, Emma's dragon, Grant's quiet pull. Clara met him at the door. "She's good," Jake's all in, Emma's cracking slow. "Words?" he asked. "A few mom stuff," Clara said. "Big step." Trump nodded, that queen's memory flickering. Mrs. Delaney's kids, no stories left. "Twice a week, stick with it," he said. "More if she needs." "Yes, sir," Clara said, jotting a note. Grant stepped out, pad under her arm. Jake's open, Emma's guarded, but she's in. Allie's heavy, lost too. "Slow wins here." "Keep pushing," Trump said firm. "They've got time now, use it." She nodded, heading off, and Clara set out chicken nuggets, Jake's pick. "Eat up," she called, and Jake ran in, Emma trailing, her dragon sketch left open. Trump lingered, watching them grab plates, Jake chattering, Emma quiet but there. "School tomorrow?" he asked her. "Yeah, science," she said softer. "Gonna ace it," he said, grinning, then turned to Marla. "Next, weekend stuff. Toys, books, something fun, Saturday noon." "On it," she said, typing, White House buzzing ignored. He headed out, the apartment's hum fading behind him. Back at Trump Tower, he sank into his chair, Marla's pics, Jake's spaceship sketch, Emma's dragon, on his desk. Saturday morning broke over the 7th Street apartment on April 19th, 2025, the sun spilling through the living room window where Jake bounced on the couch, his rocket zooming through an imaginary galaxy. Emma sat cross-legged on the rug, her pencil scratching across a sketch pad. Another dragon, its wings sharper now, a cave curling around it. Their third day at St. Anne's had left traces. Jake's chatter about Tim and fish, Emma's quiet pride in a science quiz. But the weekend stretched ahead, a rare pause. Clara Evans hummed in the kitchenette, stacking pancakes, the syrup bottle already open on the table. The apartment smelled of sugar and coffee, its walls holding their growing marks, Jake's rocket fleet, Emma's dragon horde. Clara set the plates down, her voice bright. "Big day, no school, just fun." Mr. Trump's dropping by, said something about toys. Jake's eyes lit up, syrup dripping as he shoveled a bite. "More rockets." "Maybe," Clara grinned, pouring juice. "Eat first, energy for whatever's coming." Emma cut her pancake, her gaze flicking to Clara. "Why's he keep coming?" Clara wiped her hands, steady. "Likes you too, wants you happy. Guess he's got a soft spot." Emma's pencil tapped her sketch pad. She didn't buy it, not fully, but Jake's grin kept her from pushing. Outside, Donald Trump's black SUV rolled up at 11:50 a.m., a delivery van trailing it, boxes stacked in the back. He stepped out, coat off in the warming April air, Marla beside him with her tablet humming. "Toys are here, rockets, books, art stuff," she said, scrolling. "Clara says school's sticking. Jake's got buddies, Emma's acing quizzes. Grant's next Monday." Trump adjusted his tie, nodding. "Good, keep him rolling. Noon's playtime, let's see some smiles." He dodged a DC briefing, trade talks heating up, his second term's grind. But Jake's spaceship dreams and Emma's dragon wings outweighed it. Inside, Clara opened the door, Jake bolting past with his rocket. "Mr. President." "More toys." Trump grinned, ruffling his hair. "Whole van's worth, kid, rockets included." Emma stood by the couch, her sketch pad under her arm, eyes sharp. "Morning," Trump said, nodding. "Draw more dragons?" "Yeah," she said, softer, showing a wingtip peeking out. Nice, gonna fly 'em soon, he said, stepping aside as two guys hauled boxes in: rockets, Legos, colored pencils, books. Jake dove in, pulling a rocket kit, while Emma eyed a sketch set, charcoals, paper, a real pad. Clara cleared the table, stacking plates. Lunch after, sandwiches, chips. Play first. Jake ripped open the rocket kit, pieces scattering, and Trump knelt beside him. Need a hand, Captain? Yeah, big engines, Jake said, handing him a fin. Emma sat nearby, opening her sketch set, her fingers tracing the charcoals, black, smooth, new. Trump glanced over, catching her eye. Draw me a dragon, big one. She didn't smile, but her pencil moved, scales curling, a tail flicking. Clara watched, her teacher's calm a quiet anchor, snapping pics for Marla, Jake's rocket chaos, Emma's dragon lines. The living room turned workshop, Jake and Trump snapping rocket parts, Emma's sketch growing, charcoal dusting her fingers. Tim says I'm the rocket boss, Jake said, gluing a wing. Tim's smart, Trump chuckled, holding the base steady. You're Mars-bound. Emma's dragon took shape, claws, eyes sharp, and she muttered, mommed like this. Trump's hands paused, that queen's memory flickering. Mrs. Delaney's kids, no toys, no moms. She'd be proud, he said soft. You're tough, both of you. Emma's pencil stopped, then moved again, her silence heavy but lighter somehow. Lunch hit the table, ham sandwiches, chips, apples, and Jake chomped, rocket half-built beside him. Emma ate slow, her sketch open, charcoal smudging her plate. Clara poured milk, smiling. Good day, happy kids. Trump nodded, biting into a sandwich. School sticking. Yeah, Emma said quieter. Science is cool, rocks. Rocks to Mars, he grinned, and Jake giggled, chips flying. The afternoon stretched, Jake's rocket finished, blasting off in his hands, Emma's dragon sprawling across 2 pages. Rachel popped in, dropping Charlotte's Web for Jake, the giver for Emma. Weekend reads, she said, joining the chaos. Trump's phone buzzed, Marla, forwarding Clara's pics. He swiped through, Jake's rocket launch, Emma's dragon glare, and pocketed it, eyes on the kids. Fun stuff sticking? He asked Clara low. Yeah, Jake's all in, Emma's thawing, she said, stacking dishes. Grant's next Monday 4. Good, keep her, he said, standing. More next week, clothes, maybe a trip. Clara nodded, and he turned to the kids. Rockets and Dragons, best team in New York, he said, grinning. Jake waved, Emma's lips twitched, closer to a smile now. He stepped out, the SUV waiting, Marla typing, White House buzzing, trade talks escalating. Clothes run Monday, 10 a.m., she said. Trip zoo, maybe? Zoo's good, he said, climbing in, the apartments hum behind him. The drive back cut through Manhattan's pulse, horns, crowds, and he leaned against the window, Clara's pics on his phone. Jake's rocket soar, Emma's dragon snarl. A DC call buzzed, budget snag, pressing. He let it hum, thumbing the screen, their faces sharp against the city's blur. Monday morning light bathed the 7th Street apartment on April 21st, 2025, slipping through the kitchenette blinds where Clara Evans brewed coffee, its rich scent mingling with the toast she'd set out. Emma and Jake sat at the table, their St. Anne's uniforms crisp, Jake's polo untucked, Emma's sleeves rolled up, nibbling breakfast before their 4th school day. Jake clutched a rocket sketch from Saturday, chattering about Tim and their Space Pirates Club, while Emma flipped through the giver, her dragon sketchpad tucked beside her. The weekend's toy haul, rockets, charcoals, had left its mark. Jake's fleet lined the rug, Emma's dragon sprawled across her desk. Clara poured juice, her voice steady. School at 8, then clothes shopping at 10, Mr. Trump's idea. Dr. Grant's at 4, more drawing. Jake grinned, toast crumbs flying. New sneakers? Sure thing, Clara said, wiping the counter. Emma's eyes flicked up from her book. Why clothes? He wants you set, stuff you like, Clara replied, gentle. Keeps him busy when he's not running the country. Emma's pencil tapped her sketch pad. Trump's persistence nagged her, but Jake's glee softened the edge. Outside, Donald Trump's black SUV rolled up at 9:50 a.m., a van trailing with Marla at the wheel, her tablet glowing. Clothes run, department store, 10 a.m., she said, stepping out. Grant's locked for 4, school's humming, Jake's a hit, Emma's topping science. Trump adjusted his tie, the April breeze mild. Good, keep it moving. Zoo's Saturday, make it big. He dodged a DC call, budget talks escalating, his second term's hum. But Jake's rocket chatter and Emma's dragon glare pulled him here, away from the White House grind. Inside, Clara opened the door, Jake zooming past with his rocket sketch. Mr. President. Sneakers today. Trump grinned, crouching. Whole store's yours, kid, pick 'em loud. Emma trailed out, her sketch pad under her arm, eyes steady. "Morning," Trump said, nodding. "Clothes run, your call too." "Okay," she said, softer, her pencil tucked in her pocket. The group piled into the van, Jake bouncing, Emma beside Clara, and rolled to a nearby Macy's, its glass doors gleaming. Marla led, carts ready, and Jake darted to the shoe aisle, pulling neon green sneakers. "These," he said, waving them. Emma browsed slower, her fingers brushing a navy hoodie, soft, her size. "That's sharp," Trump said nearby. "Grab it, whatever fits." She nodded, adding it to the cart, then a pair of jeans, simple, sturdy. Clara tossed in socks, shirts, a rocket tee for Jake. "Enough?" Marla asked, scanning tags, $300 and climbing. "More," Trump said, waving a hand. "Jackets, boots, winter's coming." Jake snagged a red coat, Emma a gray one, her pile growing. Real clothes, not shelter hand-me-downs. Clara snapped pics, Jake's sneaker strut, Emma's hoodie stack, and Marla texted them over. Back at the apartment, bags piled the living room, Jake modeling his sneakers, Emma folding her hoodie neat. Clara set out lunch, grilled cheese, apples, and Trump lingered, watching them eat. "School good?" he asked Jake. "Yeah, Tim says I'm Rocket King." Jake said, munching. "Science?" he asked Emma. "Rocks, igneous stuff," she said, quiet but firm. "Topping it?" "Yeah, easy." Her lips twitched, pride, not a smile. Trump nodded. Mrs. Delaney's kids never got new sneakers, never got science. His phone buzzed, White House trade snag. He silenced it, eyes on the kids. At 4 p.m., Dr. Lisa Grant arrived, sketchpad in hand, blonde hair loose. "Hey, Rocket Man," she said, sitting by Jake on the rug. "Spaceship today?" "Biggest one," he said, grabbing crayons, red engines, blue stars. Emma stayed at the table, her dragon sketch open, and Grant slid her a pencil. "Cave's growing." "Yeah," Emma said, drawing, claws sharper now. "Mom stuff again?" Grant asked, soft. "She liked caves, hit us in stories," Emma muttered, her pencil slowing. Jake piped up, "Dragon caves." Grant nodded, her pad filling, rockets, caves linking. "She's in these, huh?" Emma's lines deepened, a dragon's wing curling tight. Trump's SUV pulled up at 4:45, Marla texting, Grant's deep, Emma's spilling. He stepped out, peering in, Jake's crayon chaos, Emma's dragon cave, Grant's quiet pull. Clara met him at the door. "She's good, Jake's all rockets, Emma's talking mom, bits not floods." "Cracking?" he asked. "Slow, walls are thinning," Clara said, her teacher's calm steady. Trump nodded. Mrs. Delaney's kids had no stories left to tell. "Twice a week, more if she opens," he said. "Got it," Clara replied, and Grant stepped out, pad under her arm. "Jake's free, Emma's locked, but she's in. Allie's fading, Mom's not." "Keep it up," Trump said, firm. "They've got ground now, dig deeper." She nodded, heading off, and Clara set out chicken, Jake's pick. "Dinner," she called, and Jake ran in, Emma trailing, her sketch left open. Trump lingered, watching them grab plates, Jake chattering, Emma cutting her meat slow. "Zoo Saturday?" he asked Jake. "Yeah, lions," Jake said, grinning. "You?" he asked Emma. "Snakes, cool ones," she said, softer. "Whole place, your call," he said, heading out, Marla trailing. White House humming, ignored. Saturday dawned bright, the SUV rolling up at 10 a.m. with a zoo van. Private tour, Trump's pull. Jake bolted out, rocket tee on, Emma in her new hoodie, sketchpad tucked under her arm. "Lions first," Jake said, dragging Clara, and Trump followed, grinning. The Bronx Zoo sprawled, roars, squawks, and Jake ran to the lion pen, Emma to the reptile house, her pencil sketching a cobra mid-strike. Lunch hit, hot dogs, fries, and Trump watched them eat, Jake's chatter filling the air, Emma's quiet nods a rhythm. Clara snapped pics, Jake's lion roar, Emma's snake lines, and Marla sent them over. Back at the apartment, dusk settled, Jake sprawling with a lion toy, Emma sketching scales. Trump lingered, Clara pouring coffee. "They're good school, zoo talking," she said. "Sticking?" he asked. "Yeah, Jake's flying, Emma's landing," she replied, steady. His phone buzzed, DC budget urgent. He stepped out, the city's hum rising, and leaned against the SUV, flipping through Marla's pics, Jake's lion pounce, Emma's cobra glare. A White House call flashed, trade talks pressing. He let it buzz, thumbing the screen, their faces cutting through the noise.